Today, we are diving deep into the neuroscience behind that sticky, nagging feeling of unworthiness. We're going to explore why it's not some kind of character flaw, but actually a glitch in your brain's wiring, and way more importantly, how you can start rewriting that code. So let's get right into it. You know that voice, right? The one that whispers you're broken after just one tiny mistake? Or sees rejection in a comment that was totally neutral. It's an almost universal feeling, but where does it actually come from? Well, the answer isn't in your personality, it's in your biology. You know, thinking of this feeling as outdated software is a real game changer. Why? Because it immediately takes all the shame out of it. Your brain, in an attempt to protect you a long time ago, just created a program that's not serving you anymore. It is not a personal failure, it's a survival hack that is way past its expiration date. And the best part? You can totally debug the system. Thanks to this incredible thing called neuroplasticity, your brain is constantly changing and adapting. Those old, well-worn neural pathways of unworthiness, they aren't permanent scars. They're just paths, and we can absolutely build new ones. So, to rewrite the code, we first have to understand how it was written in the first place. Let's take a look at the early days when this glitch was installed. Okay, so picture this. Between the ages of 3 and 7, your brain's inner narrator, what neuroscientists call the default mode network, is just coming online. But at the same time, your logic center, the prefrontal cortex, is still basically under construction. So if you experienced care that was inconsistent or critical, your little brain couldn't logically filter those experiences. Instead, just to survive, it created a simple, powerful script: I am not enough. Now, what's really fascinating here is the power dynamic inside your young brain. On one side, you've got the amygdala, your fear HQ, and it is on high alert. It prioritizes belonging over everything else, because for a kid, belonging equals survival. So it tags, I'm not enough, as a core belief. Meanwhile, on the other side, your underdeveloped logic center just gets completely steamrolled. Emotion hijacks the whole system. And this really gets to the heart of it. This whole mechanism isn't a sign of weakness at all. It was your brain's bodyguard, doing the absolute best it could with the information it had. It's just maybe a little overzealous, and it never got the memo that the threat is long gone. So how does this childhood wiring actually play out in our adult lives? What is it that wakes up this overzealous bodyguard now? Well, the main trigger is something called rejection sensitivity. For people with this deep wiring, the brain's stress engine is essentially hyperactive. I mean, fMRI scans show that what might be a neutral social cue to someone else can feel like a major threat, like a betrayal, and it sends your entire system into red alert. And when that trigger gets pulled, a wave of shame just floods your brain's reward center, an area called the ventral striatum. This basically starves your brain of dopamine and other feel-good chemicals, and that's what locks you into that familiar dark loop of unworthiness. But, and this is so important, here is the golden opportunity. According to what's called memory reconsolidation theory, when a painful memory or belief gets triggered, the neural pathway it lives on becomes unlocked and changeable for about 4 to 6 hours. This is your window. This is the moment you can get in there and actually rewrite the code. So, how do we actually do it? Let's get practical. Here are 4 powerful, science-backed ways you can actively rewire those old neural pathways. We're going to walk through this 4-step debugging process. First, spot and destabilize. Then, reconsolidate with evidence. After that, we'll boost with oxytocin. And finally, build behavioral momentum. Okay, step 1 is all about awareness. The simple act of noticing the feeling and naming it. Literally saying to yourself, there's the old abandonment alarm. That engages your prefrontal cortex. As you can see here, this kind of mindful awareness can seriously reduce your amygdala's reactivity and cut the loop's power. You're basically turning autopilot into a choice. Step 2 is where you actively rewrite that memory. You can use our really powerful technique called the 2-chair drill. You imagine your younger self in one chair, the one who first felt this unworthiness. Then you sit in the other chair and become the compassionate adult, parenting that part of you, just flooding it with the counterproof and kindness it never got. You're literally giving your brain new, positive data to work with. Step 3 is all about boosting compassion. See, unworthiness thrives in isolation, so we have to counter it with connection. Practices like loving-kindness meditation can activate your vagus nerve and boost oxytocin, the bonding hormone. And get this, studies show these practices can slash the stress hormone cortisol by up to 23%, which frees up your brain's reward system for healthier connections. And finally, step 4. This is all about making it stick. As the famous Hebb's rule says, neurons that fire together wire together. So you build new, stronger pathways by stacking small, consistent wins. Log just one worthy act a day, even something as simple as brushing your teeth when you really don't feel like it. Over time, you're starving that old, dark path and strengthening the new one.
Okay, that's the long game. But what about right in the moment? When that shame spiral hits hard and fast, what can you do? Here are 3 quick physiological resets to calm the storm right down.
Now, these might sound a little strange, but they work fast because they tap directly into your body's systems. The cold face dive, it uses what's called the mammalian dive reflex to instantly quiet your fight or flight system. Gargling and growling, yep, I'm serious, physically activates the vagus nerve, sending a powerful "you are safe" signal to your brain. And counting your breaths out loud in that 4-7-8 pattern uses the vibration of your own voice as an anchor to re-regulate your entire nervous system. Ultimately, this whole process comes down to a really powerful choice. Your past experiences, they may have shaped this wiring, but they do not have to be your destiny. You get to pick up the chisel now and start sculpting something new. So, if there's just one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. Your brain isn't broken. It was never broken. It's just running an old program that was designed for a different time and a different place. And the good news is, you are the programmer now. By understanding the wiring, you gain the power to change it. You now have the tools to debug the system and install new, more empowering software. You hold the code. So the only question left is, what will you write next?